Yo, we're back with another part of this video. It's all time-stamped. I'm just running through a bunch of music I've heard. Enjoy. Okay, we're kind of getting to the home stretch here of things to talk about. Lauren Watkins is first up.
They told me I need a doctor if I was ever gone.
Lauren Watkins is someone pretty new on my radar, and I like her. You know, I'm just literally in the first moments of kind of checking out her music, but there's two songs that have really caught my attention. Well, there's three actually. There's one called Dark Bars that I think is beautiful. There's one called Cowboys on Music Row, which is a duet with Carter Faith. And they're asking like, where are the cowboys on Music Row? It's sort of like a girl's perspective into maybe the fake country types in Nashville. And then there's my favorite of all of these, which is called Fly on the Wall, which she's now released as a duet with Jake Worthington.
I wanna be a fly on the wall.
The melody on that one, awesome. So, like I said, I don't have any really deep reflections on Lauren Watkins other than just saying, FYI, she's pretty good. Like I said, there's a lot of notes that I take. I put them in my notebooks, and I'm like, I should mention this at some point. I've mentioned it. I can hear the people being like, I wish you would have dived deeper into Lauren's record. I didn't, okay? I didn't. Brian Kelley, he has a new song called like, How We Doin', What We Doin', How We're Livin'.
If I drink, I'm getting drunk. If I smoke, I'm
just a little bit missing Beach Cowboy Brian. I just felt like, man, you had a vibe. You should stay the course. But like I said, that little bit of bro country resurgence is back in the air and not hitting for me. It feels like he was leading and now I feel like he's chasing. I don't know. I feel like he put one big foot down and I'm going to reinvent. And then he was like, actually, no. He's doing the hokey pokey. Put your right foot in, you take your right foot out. It's now 2:30 in the morning and I'm still filming this. Next up, we got Josiah and the Bonnevilles and this album, Endurance.
You crash yourself on the rocks, deciding.
I love this album. I love it. I mean, Josiah has been kind of on the come up ever since I saw his freaking Creed reinvention last year of turning it into a country folk song, One Last Breath.
Please come now, I think I'm falling, holding on to all.
Then I got into his album Motel Mayday, especially the song $6 Check. And then he's kind of been on the rise this year, not only with his cover of Anti-Hero and Ghost by Justin Bieber, which he totally reinvented and made, I think, a lot of people hear the depth that those songs actually have. But then with his originals like Blood Moon and Tennessee Song and Basic Channels. And I know Zach Bryan, if you follow his Insta stories, he's always sharing Basic Channels.
You and me and the Basic Channels got full of weeds and some.
But I think Endurance is an amazing album. Josiah's voice is so standout. It is so, has this like folksy delivery style that's so kind of clear spoken, and he has a pain in his voice, but he has like a kind, gentle soul in his voice as well. And I recently got to see him live, and damn, can that guy hold a room with just him and a guitar and his racks of 18 million harmonicas. Like a true seasoned performer that almost like watching a great stand-up and have everyone laughing and then have everyone crying and have us all sing along. He can control a room like few people I've ever seen. But back to Endurance, this album, it is filled with great songs. Probably my two favorite are the two first ones. I love Another Day at the Factory.
Sure as hell, never saw myself here at 33.
Which he wrote about working in an Amazon fulfillment center and being like, another day at the factory. And this is after he'd had his label deal. So it's from this place of working hard to put food on your table, but also feeling a little bit like, where am I in life? This is just what I gotta be doing. I think the song Kentucky Flood is so special and beautiful.
Here comes the rain, ain't nothing sane in this life.
It's literally just a reflection on the floods that devastated a lot of Kentucky and him just sort of asking God, like, you know, I'm not supposed to question you, but why? And thinking about the pain and the lives lost, and you throw that harmonica in there and it gives this just jaded beauty. And then some of the pre-releases like Burn is great, Tennessee Song is great. There's a new one called Gold Cross on a Rope Chain that's a beauty. It's just a stellar album, and it's so cool that he did it all independently. Ooh, Ernest. Ernest has a new song called Kiss of Death.
'Cause I feel like dancing with the devil.
So I feel like Ernest's most recent album cycle was kind of weird because it didn't really feel like it got its own era, given that it was 12 new songs added on to the first 12 songs. And it had such a similar cover, and it just didn't feel like it had like a moment where it said, this is my next project. And Already with the release of Kiss of Death, it feels like this upcoming project is different. Like we're getting a true new era where we're really supposed to think of Ernest as an actual recording artist. And part of that is because it's a big sonic departure. Kiss of Death is like a interesting bluegrass sort of country pop fusion thing. But it's definitely adventurous in its production. That banjo running all through it. It's like got a little bit of a hoedown vibe. But mixed in with that is a sort of Western vibe. You get those low, kind of deeper bass kind of lines that go through the song that give it that spaghetti Western feel. But then you're also in Appalachia. It's like, it's not bluegrass, it's like blue cactus. Is that stupid? Cactus grass? Sawgrass? Sawgrass? Blue tumbleweed? I don't know. I have to stop. And I also like the refrain of this song where
Kiss me.
he's talking about how a girl is going to be the death of him, and she's got this kiss of death, and just the refrain of him saying, kiss me, kill me, is cool. So I'm into it. It's like a weird, interesting, cool, new song, but still has a real groove and feels kind of mainstream. It's interesting. I just pulled the Castellows.
Oh, number 7 road, won't you take me home?
The Castellows are another artist I've talked about before. There's 3 sisters. You've seen them, playing their instruments in a grain silo or something and singing kind of cool covers. Well, they got some management, they got some record deal people, and they're starting to actually release original music. Thus far, I think they have 2 songs out. One's called Number 7 Road and one's called Hurricane. And they're solid. Like, it's kind of straddling the line of the singer-songwriter vibes that they had on TikTok, but very much with more Nashville production.
I was born in the rain on a Apache train underneath the Louisiana.
It's like as restrained as some of these producers would ever allow themselves to get, because they're used to being like, no, we need big radio bangers. And it a little bit falls to me in a slight no man's land of like, it's not lo-fi enough for the lo-fi crowd. It's not produced enough for the people that want more kind of like hard hitting in your face melodies and percussion. I've had a bunch of people DM me, maybe because I made the video about those girls, Taylor Red, the redheaded triplets that I did last year, being like, Grady, are these industry plants? And I'm like, guys, just because they're triplets doesn't mean they're industry plants, which just makes me laugh because, I mean, Taylor Red's not really industry plants. They're just playing a weird game. And I don't think the Castellows are industry plants either. I don't think most people are industry plants. Do people use their connections to get further in the industry? Yes, of course. That doesn't make someone an industry plant. I don't know. Dropped one, and it is Purple Gas.
Retired rail tie, .9 wire, neighbor kid on the fence in Pine.
This is a song by a girl named Noeline Hoffman, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. But it's one of those songs you hear on social media that just stops you in your tracks. It paints this vivid picture of a Canadian farming, very flat area where she has her fencing pliers and she's looking at the rail tie fences, and she's just describing what she sees around her and kind of like the people drinking and the land that never ends. And she says, I've got plates for purple gas, which was an interesting hook, but I had no idea what it meant.
But I've got plates for purple gas.
I guess purple gas is a kind of tax-exempt fuel for like farmers in Alberta, and so it's kind of this farmer's reflection. The tone of the song reminds me of something Coulter Wall would sing. I want to say it feels almost like a super northern Loretta Lynn or something, but it's so plain spoken. That's what's giving me the Loretta Lynn vibes. Anyway, this song isn't out yet. It will be out one day, and it feels destined to be classic for her. I mean, it's a great song. Then we got The Medicine Will by Brad Paisley.
But I believe way down below.
This song was interesting to me for a few reasons. It was on that Appalachia Untold channel, and it was one of the first examples I've really gotten to see of a big star going and doing one of those sessions with a mic in the woods. I've been saying I think that is going to happen. People are going to maybe try and chase the sort of Radio WV Oliver Anthony moment because this style is clearly effective on social media. And Brad Paisley came out with a banger of a song about really the opioid crisis and talking about how you got all these miners from West Virginia, where he's from, and if the mining don't kill them, the medicine will, because they get overprescribed, they get addicted, and that's such a haunting, stark thought. But I will say, and this is where some of you are going to get really mad at me, I can feel it already, so just, try and ignore it. Just try and roll your eyes to yourself when I say it. It's a little rich having like this anti-pharma song coming from Brad Paisley after, his years of shilling for like the vaccine and saying like, my fans are the type that are really prone to believe misinformation. And, I found that very disrespectful of him to his own fan base. And it's just like funny to then put this song out after all of his advocacy on the side of pharma. So, whatever. I had to say it. But it's okay, I'll always have a place for Brad in my heart. Oh, this one's fun. I Dodged a Mullet by the Chattahoochies.
I dodged a mullet when you broke my heart.
This song's just super funny. I mean, I heard this sung live the first time at a random round I was at by a girl named Summer Overstreet that's in the Chattahoochies. And the song is just funny. It's super country. You got a bunch of 3-part harmony on there. But really, it's just a tongue-in-cheek ditty about avoiding a walking red flag. I dodged a mullet when he broke my heart because that would have been me sitting 6 rows deep at the Shady Oaks trailer park. And it's kind of going through what her life would have been if she had stayed with this guy, but she's like, no, I dodged a mullet, which is funny. Okay, we got a big one near the end here. Dolly Parton's Rockstar album. Dolly Parton, at 77 years old, decided to make a rock album. If y'all recall, back in 2022, she was nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she actually declined the nomination and said, I don't consider myself rock, and I wouldn't want to take votes away from people in rock. And then when that actually didn't go over so well, it's like the rare time Dolly didn't nail her PR, people were like, no, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is more celebrating music in general. Dolly said, okay, I'll accept the nomination, but I'm gonna make a rock album. And she did, and it's so strange that I respect it. The first song on here, the title track called Rockstar, is Dolly as a young girl kind of rebelling against her parents, saying like, no, I'm gonna be a rock star to them. And it's so interesting because Dolly's voice sounds old, and the actors that are playing the parents sound younger than her, but she's like, no, mom and dad, I'm gonna be a rock star. And that's kind of a good entry point into the project, which is so strange. You're like, why are we rocking out right now? Why is Dolly Parton singing Night Moves?
Just working on her night moves.
And Wrecking Ball, and singing a song with Steven Tyler and another one with Kid Rock, with Ringo Starr and Elton John and everyone else. But it's kind of cool, and it's working. I mean, it is projected right now to sell like 100,000 copies in its first week. This is going to be Dolly's biggest album by a long shot in quite a while. And I think a lot of the songs work pretty well. I'm quite fond of her rendition of Purple Rain.
And let me guide you to the purple rain.
All 8 minutes of it. And I've seen a bunch of people online talking about how it's just granny rock and it's embarrassing, but I don't think it is. I think it's cool, Like I've heard the phrase before where someone says, lightning can strike twice, but you gotta be willing to stand out in the rain. And Dolly's willing to stand out in the rain, and lightning has struck her so many times because she just takes swings. I feel like it's actually really cool to me that if you feel this conviction that you need to make a rock album if you're going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she full sent it, like all 30 songs of it. So I respect it. Like, yes, I prefer Dolly singing Coat of Many Colors or something a little bit more willowy and folksy like that, but I love the audacity to just make this album. Then I got Priscilla Block's Hey Jack.
Hey Jack, what you doing tonight? I got a lot of done wrongs that need done.
I'll be honest, I don't really like this song that much. And Priscilla has a lot of deep cuts I like, but some of the bigger singles, they're just so radio, so kind of like plotting and a little bit more obvious. And this one is like I want to make bad decisions. So like, hey, Jack. Jack is functioning not just as a bottle of Jack Daniels, but as this like veritable guy. Yes, you've kind of heard it before. But the big reason I wanted to talk about it is because it is my favorite new entry in my favorite lyrical trend, the Do What We Do trend. The chorus ends, yeah, you do you and let the night do what it does, which is right there with Ernest saying, do what we do and it does what it does. I'm at a point now where I hear it in so many songs, I got a whole note on my phone of just every time I hear Do What We Do. And someone pointed out to me, they're like, hey, Knives of New Orleans, your favorite Eric Church song, that's what this painting is back here. It has that in it. And I was listening and it's like, I did what I did. And I was like, I can't escape it. Once you hear Do What We Do, you'll never unhear it. So, thank you, Priscilla, for the latest entry in this very strange trend that haunts me. There's 2 songs left here. My battery's low. One of them is Jake Cohn's Frostbite.
You're scaring me to death.
Jake Kohn, at 16 years old, has this weathered voice that will remind you of early Coulter, and certainly like a kind of imaginative songwriting about these hardships and bad decisions that I don't think he could have possibly experienced yet. But it somehow all works on Frostbite. You know, him singing this on one of those acoustic sessions out in the woods went really viral earlier this year. And, you know, I liked it, and a bunch of you guys tagged me in it because he's wearing a Thicket shirt in there. So shout out Jake for watching the channel. And now we have a produced version of it. It's produced by Eddie Spear, who you might know as the producer of American Heartbreak. And I think it sounds quite tasteful and nice. They definitely bring in a little bit more instrumentation than just a guitar and a voice, but I think Jake's voice is captured really well. It doesn't feel super compressed or overly cleaned up or anything like that to me. And I love it. And I'm mostly just putting it on your radar, being like, keep an eye on this kid. He's good. And then the final thing on this is a song called Who Hurt You by a guy named Cash Culpepper.
Have drunk eyes and a cigarette hanging from a seashore lip.
This is another one that I don't even think you can stream yet. It's just been blowing up on social media. And I was like, this song is so beautiful. And it's a little bit of a moment of encouragement where Cash is saying, you're being too hard on yourself. You didn't tell that girl to leave you. You didn't tell your parents to split up. And he says, it's not the guy in the looking glass who hurt you.
It ain't man in the looking glass who hurt you.
And I like that hook a lot because it functions both as a sentence. It's not the guy in the looking glass who hurt you. It also functions as a question. Who hurt you? It's almost like an invitation to explore that a little. It's so pretty. I saw Noah Kohn comment on that TikTok, and I'm excited to hear it get recorded and released someday because I'm like, this guy's got it. So yeah, even with, you know, however many videos this has been since you got here, I'm sure I left out some of your favorites. So whine at me in the comments, but hey, I feel relieved. I just filmed for forever. What time is it? Let's look at what time it is together, everyone. Oh, it's 3:44 in the morning. So I'm sure I didn't get to everyone's favorites, but look, it's late, everybody. And you can yell at me in the comments about what I didn't listen to. And I will, you know, then get on my Insta story and say, guys, I just want to get out of this mode of only reviewing music. And then, you know, I'll see you here next year doing the same. Because that's what I do. You know, it's this never-ending paradoxical cycle of loving reviewing and always being like, I just want to make video essays like a real artist. Oh, also, I would like to say, if you want to get some merch, if you're looking for a little Christmas present, I got a new merch store set up. You can click on it in the description down below and go get you a shirt. Good night. Love you. Bye.